Welcome to what is probably going to be one of the spiciest reviews I have made in a long time. This map looked incredible when I first looked at the specs of it. It looked like it could be a lot of fun, and turned out to be one of the worst times I've had playing this game ever. It is buggy, it is poorly laid out, it is not well spaced, it is unusable, the prices are all over the place. It's just not good. The problems with this map start on the map overview. The quality of this map drawing is below par. It is, quite frankly, awful. You have very poorly drawn out roads. The quality is just, it feels sloppy, it feels lazy, it feels kind of thrown together. The map outline isn't bad, but you have a load of fields that are drawn out, but they're not numbered. It feels unfinished. It genuinely gives the impression that they just kind of got bored halfway through making it and just stopped. Because all of these fields here you can buy, and they are fields, they are ploughed and ready to go, but they're not numbered for whatever reason, which means contracts are incredibly limited from the get-go because, well, they don't technically exist, which is odd in itself. The biggest problem I've got with it, however, are the roads. As I've previously said, they are really badly drawn out. Your main road here looks like a scribble. It doesn't look like a road. It's just poor. Really, really low quality resolution. Really, really poorly written out. And it only gets worse from there because you have a lot of off-roading to do, as the main road only goes through like the center of the town or whatever. So you've got all these little off-road tracks that you have to follow, but you can't find them on the map. So you're kind of just winging it the entire time. There are bridges to go through, and there are issues with that as well, which we'll get into when we go through the map tour. Again, it just gives that really unpolished, unfinished feel. It'd be nice if they came back, numbered all these plots, and went through with just a marker. Honestly, just a nice big thick line either side of these dirt track roads so I can actually see where I'm going. On the point of lands, the fields themselves aren't actually that big. They very much give the appearance that they're bigger than what they are. And the amount of money that the game charges you for them on this map is obscene. Field 17, which I'm currently doing a contract for, is just shy of 6 hectares large. If we go to farmland and select plot 43, which is literally just the field, there's no extra sort of land that you get with it like there is on other maps, it will set you back £1.1 million. 6 hectares, £1.1 million. For this money, on Calmston, I can get a field that's roughly 17, 18, 20 hectares large. Now, the scaling is there. The field does definitely feel bigger than a 6 hectare field, but the amount of money that you get back from it is the same as a 6 hectare field. It feels like it takes you longer to do, but the return is still the same. What I mean by that is, I was doing a field earlier, I think it was up here on field 7, which is just under 4 hectares large, 28,000 litres of canola, which on this map sells for about 1,000 per 1,000. So that gives you a total of 28 grand. To buy this piece of land, again, 4 hectares large, is £562,000. I think I worked it out. It would take you something like 5 in-game years, 5 seasons to make that money back off of this field if you just did canola. The city itself is just as bad. There are lots of sell points in here and stuff, but getting there is incredibly difficult, which again you will see in the map tour. And just generally overall, it's just not a good feeling map. Like I said, you can buy all of this land here, you can buy all of these fields and work on them and sort of make your sort of feeling known, and you can sort of make money back from that. But a lot of them are all part of the same plot and not numbered. They're not fields. They don't exist. You don't do contracts for them, so you're not going to make any money off of them. There is a little bit of logging that you can do. There is a pasture that you can sort of get going with animals, but like there's not that many grass fields to start with, which means that you're going to have to make grass fields. And again, they're not that large, so you're going to need quite a few of them to keep your animals happy. Overall, just from this point alone, This map is not good and not giving me good vibes. However, it gets worse when you get into the map itself. We have loaded into the game and I am up by field 2, which is the first field I purchased. This is a good chance to give you a really good tour of the map and to see how everything works. The first thing you will notice is how god-awful the rain sounds. Every time it rains in this game, it is a storm. You will have to put up with the thunder, you will have to put up with the really poor quality sounding rain. It sounds very tinny, it sounds very low quality, just like the rest of this map. And the thunder is way too obnoxiously loud. If you don't like going in first person view, if you don't like driving in the cab, you have to put up with this. And it goes on forever. Now obviously if you're harvesting, you are going to want to be sort of speeding up time so that you don't have to harvest in the rain and make a lower yield. But if you're in sort of the period of time where I am, where you are doing a lot of ploughing and a lot of cultivating for a lot of contracts, you're going to have to make a choice of whether you want to skip time or put up with it, and that's not good. The second issue I've got with this map is this river that we are driving down by here. If you fall in, if you are a bad driver like I am, and you end up in the river itself, there's no way to get out. Now, if you are past a certain point or before a certain point, you can. There is a way that you can get back out. But if you're in between, it's like a little dam of rocks and this bridge here, there is no way out. It is completely walled off. You could argue that you should just simply not fall in the river, but, well, I'm stupid and there should be protections against that. Once you get into the city area itself, the problems just continue. The main road is fairly wide, even though I'm driving this Rosselmash here and driving it poorly. But getting any sort of equipment into any of the sell points is a task and a half. You generally have to just reverse in and hope for the best. The city itself is a massive maze and you will get lost. Furthermore, if you end up in the wrong area, if you end up in the bottom part of the city, which we are making our way to slowly, you can get very lost very quickly, very stuck very quickly, because the roads become incredibly narrow. There are hills, there are one-way systems that just don't need to be one-way systems. And the roads become incredibly tight with really, really tight fitting corners, which you just can't get by, even in small equipment. The amount of times that I've had to just reset and start again because I've got lost and or stuck, too many to count, it really is. The game looks pretty. The map looks pretty, but functionally it is awful. It's one of the worst I've ever had to deal with. Now, once you get out of this city area, once you get out of the built-up areas and you're able to go ahead and drive around and really enjoy the scenery, it opens up a lot more. You can use bigger equipment as a result, and you are able to sort of get anywhere you need to, providing you're not trying to look at the map and figure out where the road is. So if we go down here, you can see the fairly tight roundabout, and then it goes into one-way systems that are gated off, and I'm not going to be able to take this Rosselmash any further. I've made this point before about Court Farms, where I don't like the fact that a game can limit my accessibility with bigger pieces of machinery. I like using big pieces of machinery. I like feeling powerful. I like being able to get through jobs very quickly. And I can't do that if I'm in this thing, and I can't do that if I can't find my way to the drop-off point that I need. This is a massive issue that the game has, and it only gets worse the more lost you get. You will end up just saying screw it and resetting. Once you've made it out the city, and yes, I sped time up so that I could stop the rain, the problems continue with sell points, namely this one here. Combined granary food factory thing doesn't work. The drop point just refuses to accept anything that I try and put in it. I have bought the production point, made no difference. I have tried every sort of unload position that I can, still no difference. And what this means is that a lot of the contracts I get become null and void almost immediately. There are a lot of other sell points that you've got in the game, so if you're buying your own fields and going from there, that's fine. But if you're trying to do contracts and harvesting contracts, it's a real issue because you can't make any money. And as we've seen, the plots of land are incredibly expensive, so if you can't make money, you can't buy the pieces of land, which means that you can't then just deposit it wherever you want to. The main issue being, I feel, is that the symbol or the drop point is done at the edge in between both of them, which means that these little sort of points here don't actually work. I don't know if it doesn't work for other people or if it's just being finicky for me, but it's a problem, and I've tried different things. I've tried it when I've not owned the property. I've tried buying the property, which you can buy for a whole £1, and then I've tried different like things that it accepts to see if it's just one particular crop that it won't accept or if it's any of them. The other problem is if you buy the piece of equipment, if you buy the factory, yes, it only costs you £1, but if you don't deactivate everything immediately, you will be spending £7.5 per day that you are in this game just on maintenance costs, which you're not going to be making anything back on it because nothing accepts it, which means it's not turning anything into anything at all. Anyway, overall, that's a really big issue. Another bug that I've had on this game is that I bought the Pneumatic Star P900, the weeder seeder, to seed my field or sow my field with canola. 18 grand for the piece of equipment. The field is only a couple of hectares large, 9 meters wide for the piece of equipment, but brilliant. That will really work well. That'll be nice and cheap, won't cost anything to seed, probably won't even use 300 seeds, job's a good one. Unfortunately, it refused to actually do that. It refused to let me sort of sow anything. It wouldn't work. However, every time I lifted the piece of equipment after trying to sow, a large chunk of my maintenance bar would go. Like, by the time I'd finished trying to get it to work, the maintenance bar was at 0. So it would have cost me more to fix the piece of machinery than it did to actually buy it. So I sold it, bought a normal seeder, a 3 meter wide one, and that worked fine. So certain pieces of equipment don't work on this map either. And it all accumulates to basically that this map is an unfinished, buggy piece of... It needs work doing to it. It has potential. It could be a really nice map. It could be something that I could enjoy. But it is hard to navigate. It is hard to deposit items. There are bugs, there are glitches, and there are just really unfinished, low quality aspects of this map that mean I never want to touch it ever again. Give me more plots of land, reduce the cost of the fields, make it so that the fields are nowhere near as expensive as what they are, make the economy just better, and I might consider this playable. However, right now, I could not recommend this. Thank you very much for watching. Do let me know in those comments down below whether you agree or disagree with my findings, whether you've had the same experiences on this map or not, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Ciao, ciao.